And now we explore allegations that the City of Ekurhuleni aid program to benefit the poor was generously expanded, but the beneficiaries were often commercial companies, raising questions about misplaced priorities and political favours. It's claimed that under Ekurhuleni Mayor Mzwandile Masina, allocations to fund community and poverty alleviation projects ballooned from 20 million rand to 100 million rand in 2017, but the process of selecting and monitoring beneficiaries was opaque, posing the risk that a laudable program was diverted to buy favour and influence. So these are the allegations. Amabhugane investigative journalist Tabelo Timse joins us now to talk about this. And just before we get to you, Tabelo, I just want to let our viewers know that our producer did get in touch with the mayor's office. His spokesperson at some point agreed to the interview and said that, or at least said, they would revert back following the request, and after that did not come back to my producer. And of course they did object to the presence of Amabhugane as well. A very good evening to you, Tabelo. Let's first just start with your investigations into this. So the City of Ekurhuleni program to benefit the poor was generously expanded, you say, but the beneficiaries were often commercial companies. Whom, according to your investigations, benefited? And was there any indication of the selection process that ensured that only the poor benefit?
Good evening. For me, according to my investigation, I could see, or my investigation has revealed, that private companies have benefited more from this fund. And in terms of the fund itself, it was meant to benefit, organizations that work within the community, like non-profit organizations. And then when I looked at the list of the companies that benefited, I saw a lot of private and commercial companies as well that benefited from this.
So who were these individuals? Are some of them politically connected, as the claim is that businesses were used in order to win influence? They were favoured to win these grants in order to expand that. Was there evidence of those? Were any of those individuals who are alleged to be close to the mayoral office or the mayor himself?
It's very hard to prove political connections, because when I looked at the social media accounts of some of the beneficiaries, you could clearly tell which party or which they were close to the mayor, but they were politically active, if I can use that term. They were politically active if you look at their social media accounts. I mean, some of them were also ward committee members for the ANC. So in that sense, they denied, saying that they are free to be members of a political party, but it has no bearing in terms of the selection criteria, because on the form you don't put your political affiliation. You just state what your project is, but you can't help not to see that actually some of these companies, their political affiliations are very clear. It's very clear who they're supporting.
Okay. Beyond whom they're supporting, I want to understand a fundamental thing, Tabelo. Were they outside of the prism within which the grant recipients could belong to? As in, was it just agriculture? Was it ring-fenced for certain industries? Was it ring-fenced for small businesses? As in, were there, in some cases, like I've heard allegations that people in the music industry weren't supposed to be beneficiaries of this fund, but they were given grants. Was this evidence that you found?
Yes. So the evidence that I found was that most of these companies that benefited more were entertainment-based companies. So, okay, let me start. Like, when I got interested in the story, because I used to see these big events at Ekurhuleni, right? Like your New Year's event where they posted big international musicians and they had alcohol sponsorships. And then I got interested because to me, I was shocked that why events of this nature are funded from the granting aid. It didn't make sense to me because my understanding of granting aid was to help organizations that are involved in communities. So the evidence, even with this list that I analyzed, it was commercial companies, and mostly it was event-based companies, events-based.
So let's do something. As I said, the response that we received from the mayor's office, including questions about your motives as Amabhugane, was the fact that you are perceived to be biased. I want to look at Section 67 of the Municipal Finance Management Act. So according to that, the grants and aid scheme is allowed. But municipal oversight, did it appear poor? Is that why you started questioning it? Or was it according to your own interpretation of who ought to be a beneficiary?
Well, I mean, the policy, it does say that priorities will be given to charitable organizations and non-profit organizations. And then when the new administration came in, they expanded the policy to accommodate other businesses or other entities, but they are not very clear what kind of entities they are allowing to submit applications. So as well, I mean, from 20 million rand to 100 million rand for this kind of a fund, it was very questionable. And then that was my starting point, because when I saw the 100 million rand, the fund was, I mean, the money was increased, the budget was increased. Obviously, it was a good thing initially when I started to looking at this, because then you see that, all right, organizations that are working in the community are going to be benefiting from this.
Before
and
we run out of time,
I saw that this is not what it says.
Right.
And the policy itself of the municipality says, the priority is organizations that are going to work in the communities.
We're going to run out of time, Tabelo, so I have to interrupt you. I need to ask this question.
Sorry?
We are running out of time, so I have to interrupt you. I need to ask this question. What has your interaction with the mayor's office been? Documentation. Was there a clear understanding why the mayor, incoming mayor, Mzwandile Masina, raised the fund from 20 million rand to 100 million in 2017? And was there any reason why, when this was repeated in 2018, but then reduced to 40 million rand?
My interaction with the mayor's office, I sent queries and they were answered. When I asked for proof in terms of whether this project did indeed take place, then I was sent from pillar to post. But the answer that I got from the municipality in terms of why they increased the budget from 20 to 100, it was to give an impetus to the pro-poor policy for the municipality. So they wanted to include more, small and medium enterprises. And then, so that was like their answer. But for me, their answer, it didn't translate into actually the people that they granted or the beneficiaries that they themselves approved to be beneficiaries. The policy and what happened on the ground were completely two different things. Because if you're going to say, okay, I'm increasing the budget to 100 million to benefit more organizations of this nature, then why was not that happening?
All right, thank you. We're going to leave it there.